Inspire me to be the highest me. Mommy motivation. Mamas, I have been so overwhelmed by your messages, your texts, your emails, and your comments in the thread concerning the last video, Mask on First. I mean, it was something totally unexpected in terms of some of the comments that I received that really just gripped my heart concerning just the importance of that topic. And so I was planning today as a day of rest, even if it was a quarter of a day of rest. And I'm still going to have that time. But there was no way I wasn't going to record this video to ensure that we talk about part 2, which was recognizing, how do you know you're good? How do you know that your mask is on first? And it's something that has really been a part of my well-being and my plan for quite some time when I got on this journey of self-care. So welcome if you are new here. I'm Z. This series is all about sharing lessons in family, faith, and fulfillment. And I know I referenced the video Mask on First. If you missed it, I will put an info card above and also link it in the description box below. I would hope that you go back and see it so you have a context for what we're discussing. But either way, I hope you get something from this video. So I want to talk about, and I could give you probably about 5 or 6, but I'm going to stick to 3 so that I can thoroughly address them when it comes to how do you know, how do you recognize that your mask is on first, that you're good, that you've taken care of your well-being and your mental state and all the other elements that we discussed in the video. So I'm going to give you 3, but I do want to preface it with saying that these are things that you recognize when you're consistently putting on your mask. So if it's a hit and miss, and you know, some days or some weeks or some months, you may take a moment to go get a massage, or maybe you take a rest break like I am today, or whatever it may be. These are things that I'm talking about with when you're doing it consistently. And because it's something that you should be doing consistently, it does not have to be something major. And for each person, it's going to look different because you know what, or you may be learning what you require in order to put your mask on first, to make sure that you're in a place to give out your best. So I do want to say these tips are really about being consistent. And guess what? If you've dropped the ball in any area where you feel like you are not being consistent, get up. Get up. Because, you know, love cannot dwell in the same room as shame and guilt. It just can't. And love says today is a new day. You have an opportunity to get yourself back. You have an opportunity to begin anew. There's never a time when the mind cannot get something better to refresh it, or the heart can't take in something to transform it. So go ahead and begin your process. And if you stop and fall short in any way, get on back up, mamas. It's good. It is all good. All right, so let me jump into it. When you know that and you begin to recognize that you are wearing your mask, okay, and you're putting it on consistently, your response will be different. So there are situations that may be going on right now in your life where they could have been going on for quite some time. And there may not be an end date in your view as to when that situation will end, when it will get better, when it will improve. And so by putting on your mask first, by recognizing that it's on, you will see that the situation can remain, but your response is different. So I can remember with my daughter, for the first 4 to 5 years of her life, when she was battling severe skin issues, battling with allergies, I stayed at the doctor's office. In a month, I could have easily have gone 2 to 3 times a week because I was a new mom. I had no clue what was going on with her. A part of me felt a little bit guilty about it. So I just wanted to be able to help her. So I wanted to get everything I could and do everything I could to help her. But in that season, I did not know, okay, this is the date that this is going to get better. This is when you'll get some relief, mama. This is when you won't have to drive hours sometimes to go to her appointments. So it was critical for me to learn to put on my mask first, because I would get all sorts of conversations from people and doctors about what I should and shouldn't do, and things that would make you feel like you just incapable. You just can't be a mom. Maybe the child should go to the doctor themselves and live there, because I would get flooded with so much information that was contradictory. And so it was enough to make me feel defeated. But because every day I was getting up, I was getting in my process of journaling, I was keeping journals of the journey for myself as a mom. I was letting out those thoughts that made me want to tell somebody off because I didn't know what that day was going to bring. I knew that it was absolutely critical for my response to be at a place that I determined it. It was not reactionary because I didn't know what I was going to get each and every day. From my own child and her going through to me talking to different people and medical professionals and whatever, I had to be at a place where I was at a level head because I didn't know what I would have to contend with. And so what I began to recognize is that the situation continued, but my response changed. I altered my response intentionally by being in a place where I could be in prayer in the morning. I could do the necessary things to make sure that I was good before having to start my day. And so recognizing that your mask is on first is recognizing that you respond differently. And this could be responding differently to the people in your own household. It could be responding differently on your job, to the people that you interface with every day, to your children. It's just that you become different because you're taking care of you. We all can become unraveled if the button is pressed enough. I don't know too many people that press your button more than the people that you live with, you know? And so it's even more important that you have that place of recognizing how you want to respond to something by putting on your mask first, because you're going to have to live in that space every single day. So I would give that your response changes, not necessarily the situation. And if the situation should change, you can still applaud the fact that you've grown, that you're ready for the next level of a situation because you're different. You have decided to change your response. So that's the first way you can recognize that your mask is on. The second way I'll give that you recognize is because you begin to form authentic relationships. These are relationships that are both reasonable and realistic for the season that you're in. And I have to say this, putting on your mask in one season is not going to look the same every season. You know, it's going to alter and change in some ways. There may be some things that are non-negotiable that you choose to do every single day, you know, because that's just a part of that you made that a part of your lifestyle. But my capacity is going to be different in different seasons because I'm contending with different things, right? And so I always, the mom with a newborn baby, that's going to look like a very different season than if you got teenagers living with you. Ooh, right? Very different season. And then let's say you got both in one house. Very different season. So putting on your mask first is going to look different, and which is why I don't define what that looks like for everybody, more so than saying it's about dealing with your own mental, physical, spiritual, emotional well-being, okay, to ensure that you are at a place to give out. But the second thing is about those authentic relationships. You know, it's interesting, when I had a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and I was pregnant, you know, and so every day, and I had just kind of become a stay-at-home mom, so I just kind of resolved in my heart that I was going to be home and no longer in the classroom, and I'd been home with them all this time, but I was still looking, you know, still searching for places to send them, but I had settled in my own self that, okay, I'm going to be home, but now I'm dealing with the hormonal things going on in my own body, and then I'm also trying to figure out where I'm going with my daughter and her skin issues, and then I've got a son. So I'm kind of dealing with a whole lot of things at once. But somehow I still felt like I had to show that I was good. I had to present that all was well. So I'm still cleaning the house. I'm still taking care of stuff in the house because the old Z that was out there working 9 to 5 felt like for me to be still for a moment and to take a breather, something was wrong with that. And so when my husband would come home, I had to present like, oh, I'm good. All is well, right? But I was drowning. I'm talking about drowning. When your mind and your mental well-being is not there, but everything else you're trying to present as if it is, you're drowning. And so I knew I had to get a handle because I wasn't good. And so I remember having this conversation with my husband about, the house and, the cleaning, and just, I don't know if I asked him a question about what's something that, when you come into your own home, if this is, together, you feel like, you have a sense of peace or whatever. And I remember him saying something like the kitchen, that for him, because he goes in, he's going to eat, whatever, that's an important place for him. And I'm thinking, you mean this whole time I'm looking at laundry and bathrooms and, having dinner prepared and put on the table and the kids all washed and bathed and fed and story time and this and that, and you just needed a kitchen? But guess what that taught me? Those were the expectations I was putting on myself, not the expectations that somebody else had put on me. But the shift happened once I realized that I was looking for something to fulfill that place in me that wasn't being fulfilled. So it was like, if I continue to work and do all these things that present something, then I'll be good. But I wasn't good. And so when I learned what it meant to put on my mask first, to make sure I was good first, then all those unrealistic expectations that I put on myself, begin to shift. And then the expectations that I put on others undoubtedly are going to shift, because now I'm at a place where I'm good with me. I'm not out yet trying to do something to make me good with me. No. I'm taking care of those things first, so that whatever it brings, now I get to be able to have authentic relationships with other people from a place of being able to set clear guidelines, boundaries, expectations, because I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes the expectations that we can set for our own selves can be so over the moon that we're always coming up short, and we're disappointed, and we're judging ourselves from this place of expecting to be a certain way and not fulfilling that because we're not putting our mask on first. So that's another way that I recognized that my mask was on first, is that I began to form these authentic relationships first by having clear and authentic expectations of myself. And that made a great difference. The final one that I'm going to give today, as I said, there are many, but I want to be able to talk about these three. The final way that I recognize that my mask is on first is that I'm able to love from a place of vulnerability. And that's a hard word. That one is hard, to be okay with saying you need help, or this is where you are, or this is what's going on with you, to be at a place where you can be exposed to the people that are closest to you, even your children. That's difficult for me. I know it was as a mom, and even in other areas of my life. But I tend to say that I'm not going to dwell on mistakes. I feel like if I admit them, then I can be freed up from just letting them roll their tape in my mind. That for me is an attack. And so by simply being vulnerable, it allows me to be clear on where I am. My kids know this, that I have a word. It's QT, quality time. We all need that quality time with ourselves. So there is a time during the day where I'll call for QT, and it usually is a set time when we're on our schedule. But many days I may not get it. If the kids wake up early and I haven't had a moment to myself, they know, it's going to happen today, because I am even tempered. I am better able to serve you when I've had some quality time to myself. And they benefit from getting the quality time to themselves. They can read a book. My daughter likes to be able to do things on her own, where she doesn't always have to have her siblings with her. And so it gives her an excuse to go into her hideaway and do what she wants to do. There really are no stipulations, as long as they're not infringing on somebody else's time. And because it's a part of our routine, it's usually centered around my daughter's 2-year-old's nap time, because she hear quality time. She hear go where y'all going and do what y'all doing. But when she's able to rest at that same time, and they're able to get their time and I'm able to get mine, we're all the better for it. But that came through loving from a place of saying, if I get to the threshold where I'm feeling like I'm going to become someone else, that's not good for anybody, you know? And so that quality time is part of my putting on my mask first, which has helped me to recognize that I have to be vulnerable enough to be clear on, this is what I need. This is something that is imperative to my daily life being able to run smoothly. And so prayer is imperative to my daily life being able to run smoothly. There are things that I may not do every day because the days look different, but then there are those things that are just non-negotiable that has to be a part of my putting on my mask, because I'm the better and they're the better for it. And so I hope you'll leave me a comment and let me know if there are one of these that resonates with you, where you have recognized maybe growth in yourself by the way you respond differently to a situation, or maybe there is something where you have had to reevaluate relationships and determine, is this authentic? Is this reasonable? And especially for yourself, is this a reasonable expectation I'm putting on myself for the season that I'm in? And then, of course, being able to be vulnerable, being able to say, here I am, this is where I am, and allow others to come in and to be able to assist in that process, or to be clear about where you are so that everybody else can be clear about what is and what isn't happening for you. And so let me know. I'm loving how I get to interface with you guys. So I hope to hear from you. More than anything, I pray that you are encouraged, that you are having a blessed day, mamas, and that you know that there is a place for you to take care of self. Have a blessed day.